Imagine standing in front of a raging river. No bridge, no boat, no GPS, no life jacket. The water is moving so fast that one wrong step could kill you. Today, crossing a river is easy. But for most of human history, rivers were giant walls that blocked travel, trade, and entire armies. So how did ancient humans cross them? The answer is far stranger than you think. Some floated across using dead animals. Some used elephants as living anchors. Some built boats that looked like giant floating baskets. And one civilization created grass bridges so advanced that modern engineers still study them today. This is the incredible story of how ancient humans conquered rivers before bridges existed. Let's start with one of the strangest methods ever invented: ancient Assyria. Around 2,700 years ago, the Assyrians ruled one of the most powerful empires on Earth. Their armies moved incredibly fast. But there was a problem. The Middle East is filled with major rivers, and armies can't stop every time they encounter water. So the Assyrians came up with a genius solution. They turned animal skins into inflatable flotation devices. Seriously. After slaughtering a goat or sheep, soldiers removed the skin carefully. Then they tied off the openings. The neck became an air valve. The skin was inflated like a balloon. And suddenly they had a portable life raft. Ancient stone carvings from Nineveh actually show soldiers floating across rivers while hugging these inflated skins. This isn't a legend. It's carved directly into palace walls. Using this technique, Assyrian soldiers could cross rivers without waiting for bridges or boats. In a way, they invented an ancient version of the inflatable life jacket. And surprisingly, modern special forces use a very similar technique today. But what if you needed to carry supplies, or fish, or transport goods? That's where one of humanity's oldest boats appears: the coracle. Imagine a giant basket. Now make it waterproof. That's basically a coracle. Ancient people wove branches together, covered them with animal hide, then sealed everything using tar or natural oils. The result was a tiny circular boat that weighed less than 10 kilograms. One person could carry it on their back, yet it could safely float an adult across a river. What's incredible is that this idea appeared all over the world: in Britain, in Mesopotamia, in Tibet, in Vietnam, and even among Native American tribes. Different cultures, separated by thousands of miles, invented nearly the same solution, because it worked. In Babylon, giant versions called guffas carried tons of cargo along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Some were so large they transported entire shipments of goods. Even more surprising, British commandos secretly trained with coracles during World War II because they were silent and easy to transport. A 10,000-year-old invention was still useful in modern warfare. Now things get even crazier. Imagine trying to cross a powerful river. The current is strong enough to knock soldiers off their feet. How do you stop them from being swept away? Ancient Indian armies had an answer: elephants. Lots of elephants. Military manuals from ancient India describe a remarkable technique. War elephants would enter the river first. Then they would stand perfectly still in the current. Because an elephant weighs several tons, the water couldn't move it. Soldiers would grab ropes connected to the elephant. Some accounts even describe infantry holding onto the elephants themselves. The elephants became living anchors, human bridge supports. Their massive bodies broke the current and created safer paths for soldiers. Alexander the Great's campaigns in India also mention elephants helping engineers cross difficult rivers. And this actually makes sense. Elephants are excellent swimmers. They can cross deep rivers and even swim long distances in open water. Their trunks work like natural snorkels. So while most animals feared rivers, elephants turned them into highways. Then came one of the greatest engineering achievements in human history: the Inca Empire, high in the Andes Mountains of South America. The landscape was filled with deep canyons and violent rivers. Traditional bridges were impossible. So the Inca built something extraordinary. Suspension bridges made entirely from grass. No metal, no nails, no machines, just grass. Workers twisted mountain grass into giant ropes. These ropes were braided together into cables as thick as a person's body. The cables stretched across rivers and canyons. Wooden walkways were attached on top. And suddenly entire armies could cross. At their peak, the Inca road network contained more than 200 suspension bridges. Spanish conquistadors were shocked when they saw them. Some soldiers were so terrified they refused to cross. Yet the bridges worked. In fact, one still exists today. The Huachaca Bridge in Peru. Every year, local communities rebuild it using the same techniques their ancestors used centuries ago. Modern engineering studies have found that the bridge uses many of the same structural principles found in modern suspension bridges. The Inca discovered them without mathematics textbooks, without calculus, without modern engineering, simply through observation and experience. Sometimes ancient people didn't cross rivers individually. They moved the entire bridge. Babylonian and Persian engineers developed pontoon bridges, floating bridges made from boats. The idea was simple. Take dozens or even hundreds of boats, anchor them side by side, lay wooden planks across the tops. Instant bridge. One of the most famous examples happened when the Persian king Xerxes needed to move a massive army across the Hellespont. Engineers connected hundreds of ships together, then built a bridge on top. The result stretched across open water. It was one of the greatest engineering projects of the ancient world. And in Mesopotamia, temporary floating bridges were often assembled at night for military operations or political rituals. Imagine waking up one morning and discovering an entire bridge had appeared overnight. For ancient people, it must have felt like magic. When we think about ancient humans, it's easy to imagine people struggling against nature. But rivers tell a different story. Again and again, humans found solutions. They floated on animal skins, built basket boats, used elephants as living anchors, created floating bridges from ships, and constructed suspension bridges from nothing but grass. These weren't primitive people. They were engineers, inventors, problem solvers. Every river they crossed expanded trade, exploration, and human civilization. And the next time you drive across a bridge without thinking about it, remember that thousands of years ago, someone crossed that same obstacle holding onto an inflated goat skin and hoping the current wouldn't win. Because long before modern technology, human creativity was already building bridges where none existed.